So, Alberto, it is all connected with the satellites. Does the Heavenly Mother mention the satellites in her messages? Exactly so. First of all, these satellites have already been placed into the atmosphere, and Virgin Mary mentioned them. I'll read you a few messages. Carbonia, March 2021. The sky is surmounted by satellites ready to fall on your heads, O men of science. You won't have any way out because of the cruelty you brought on my children, because of your commitment to the destruction of this humanity. Exactly. As you see, everything fits. They have been mentioned in the messages, but as I told you before, they say it all in the face. I'll give you an example once again. The president of Chile, Sebastian Pinera, on a live TV broadcast, take care, therefore, in front of millions of people. There is also a video on YouTube with Spanish subtitles. I've watched it and listened to it, so I'm just repeating what I've heard. Well, he said with great enthusiasm, thanks to these satellites, we can do what we never done before. That is, we can read your thoughts and we can input into you thoughts and emotions. So they say everything in our face, from A to Z. Luz de Maria, February 2021. The major interests of the earthly power know how to penetrate the subconscious of the human being, and they have already installed what they need for this purpose. The high-tech big antennas, which should apparently be receiving and emitting antennas, they are the tools to penetrate the subconscious of people to make them act against the divine will. For this careful, that's important, there are some antidotes. Remain in the true faith, behave and do right, love the Lord above all else, love your neighbor like yourself. This will stop the action of evil in you. If you retain the proper spiritual state, the presence of the divine spirit will set you free from this evil. Keep in mind there must be the proper spiritual state so that the divine spirit may act in you, and then you have the antidote against this rule. That's right, as I said before, the antennas technology combined with this liquid is for mental manipulation, but we should also take into account that these antennas have an effect also on the people without the liquid, of course with a much less intense power. I'll tell you a few examples. In 1982, the Falkland War broke out. The English army fought against the Argentinian army for the control of the Falkland Islands. The Argentinian soldiers were in good spirits, full of energy, locked and loaded, but right before clashing with the English, they would fall into depression, and so they lost the war. What happened? The English were emitting and directing waves of a certain frequency against the Argentinian soldiers. Then the latter were losing morale, and that's how they lost the war. So what to do? Our Lady just said it in this message. We must keep doing good works, real, actual works of charity towards the needy. We must always announce the truth, the gospel. We must spread these messages, pray the rosary, receive the Eucharist, so that we raise our spirituality. Therefore, we are able to host the light of Christ in us, which works like a shield. Therefore, these waves coming from the outside cannot touch us, nor they can undermine our mood. However, take care, this is something which applies to the people without liquid. I don't want to confuse the subjects. Yes, we get it. So, Alberto, can we say that this liquid is the prelude to the actions of the Antichrist? Exactly, that's right. We can say that this liquid is the first step which is taking us towards, let's say, the stamp of the Antichrist, towards this, we may say, tiny subcutaneous grain of rice, let's call it like that, which they will put in humanity. Now I'm going to read you a few confirmation messages. Luz de Maria 2015. Very soon they will kick off the obligation and the implantation of, let's say, the subcutaneous stamp, so that each of you accepts it. Know certainly that this is the seal of Satan, by which they not only will follow every step of yours and control your social life and your economic conditions, but they also will come to control your mind. So everything connects. And here comes a very important message. In such a way that even if that it is what you want inwardly, you will not be able to pronounce a single word of prayer, not even to ask for help from my son. Extremely important. The famous Gates had screened some slides on a wall in front of some militaries, and you could see some brains, some highlighted areas of the brain, and he had been spoken of the project of reducing the religious fanaticism. That's to say, the project of preventing people from utilizing those areas of the brain used to get in touch with God. I'll give you a few examples. When we feel instinctive emotions, we use the primitive area of our brain, the brain stem. When we formulate ideas, we use the cortex. When we pray, instead, we use more the pineal gland. Now, with this subcutaneous stamp, they will decide when we can use or cannot use some specific areas of our brain at their will. So, with this stamp, they will give us no coming back. Because when everything will be connected with these satellites, including our brains, as the president of Chile said, they will be able to read our thoughts, but also to see the kind of anger we are in. They'll even see if we are willing to remove this stamp, so they can even anticipate our moves. The doctor and scientist Robert Baker wrote a book about this topic. He performed some experiments on living frogs, and he said that it's possible to artificially induce cardiac arrests. And he said you can do the same with human beings by sending microwaves to the heart. Then you can provoke these cardiac arrests, so they can do whatever they want of us, and once again, even anticipate our moves. The last message I've read said, even if that is what you want inwardly, you would not be able to pronounce a single word of prayer, not even to ask for help from my son Jesus. Carbonia 2020. A frightening scenario is looming upon earth. Pay attention, ask for my help. I cannot intervene without your consent. 2016, still Carbonia. Whoever will call me Father and ask for my help, I'll rescue him or her. My angels will get to safety anyone who will recognize me as the one true God. Valeria Copponi, Apparitions, Rome, 2012. You cannot mess around with the enemy. His intelligence is beyond yours, and his evil has no limits. Be very careful, because his trap is invisible to man's eyes. Now we understand why the Heavenly Mother said that Satan has a nastiness with no limits. The stamped people, even if they want to, they will not be able anymore to ask for the help of Jesus Christ, of the angels, of the army of Jesus, of the army of the Almighty Lord, which is the only army that can set us free from the slavery of Satan. And it's also written in the Acts of the Apostles. When Peter was arrested, the community prayed for him, and what happened? An angel of light appeared in his cell, opened the door, and then he could escape. Also, in 1914, the English organized a day of national prayer because the English cavalry was in danger of succumbing to the German cavalry. So, what's happened? Some huge, majestic men, completely clothed in white, appeared. In other words, angels. They frightened the German army and made it run away. Also, in London, a girl was coming back from university. It was late afternoon. It was dark. She walked through a park. She was alone, and she met a killer, which was arrested later. She was afraid, so she prayed to her guardian angel, and this angel manifested himself through a human physical body. The killer got scared and didn't do anything to this girl. Therefore, if we pray to them, if we summon them, they will intervene. Otherwise, if we don't summon them, they won't intervene. So, Satan has found a way to create a clear perpetual division between us and Jesus Christ, between us and the angels, his army. Unfortunately, I've also heard some people saying, but yeah, come on, just do good works, since Jesus shall judge mankind by our good works. But it's not exactly like that. Let me explain. Yes, Jesus will judge by the good works, but the stamped people will have no power over their own actions, and they will not do good works anymore.